Hey, buddy.
The Inquisition supports free mages. What's next? Elves running Hallam-Sharal? Cows milking farmers?
I'll think of something.
Give me time. I'm sure I'll surprise you.
I suspect that's untrue. Unless you strip yourself naked and allow the Chantry to flog you into repentance. Now that would surprise me. I do wonder if you've considered what this support of yours will do. For mages in general, I mean. The Inquisition is seen as an authority. You've given southern mages license to...
Good show.
Well, be like mages back home.
If that means they're anything like you, I approve.
Ha! There aren't many mages back home like me.
I'd believe that.
I never fit in. Bloodstains are so difficult to clean, you see.
So we're doomed to a future of blood magic then?
Not at first. But you'd be a fool not to see where this could lead. Thing is, the Imperium was once just like the South. Templars, proper circles, all that rot. Then it changed. By inches. Not that this is reason to oppress us. Still, my homeland should be a cautionary tale, not a source of inspiration.
DJ Birdman with the 4 months. Hey, Coach, sorry I've been watching, but it's just that I want to play through the DA series, but thanks for being such a cool dude. Well, thank you, DJ Birdman, for supporting the channel, even though you're not watching it. Appreciate the 4 months. Thanks. Then we have a 10 gift bomb from Templar366. The Templars are supporting the mage's freedom. Inexcusable. Thank you so much for the 10 bomb. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
It occurs to me that I barely know anything about you.
Beyond my being a mage from Tevinter, you mean?
Beyond that, yes.
And beyond my being so charming and well-dressed, which is obvious to anyone.
I'm well aware of your finer qualities. Believe me.
Of course you are. You're a discerning and intelligent woman, after all. Now,
Love it.
what was I talking about? Ah, yes, me.
Me.
I am the scion of House Parvis, a product of generations of careful breeding and the repository of its hopes and dreams. Naturally, I despised it all. The lies, the scheming,
Oh my
the
God.
illusions of supremacy. That's Tevinter in a nutshell, isn't it? Needless to say, my family was not happy with my choices.
Why would your family be upset with your choices?
Because I rejected their idyllic plan. If they had their way, by now I'd be married to some unlucky girl from a powerful family. We'd live in luxurious despair, despising each other as I waited to take my father's place in the Magisterium. I declined the honor, and thus it's best I'm far from home. Less of an embarrassment that way, you see.
I'm getting the impression that you don't care much for your homeland.
On the contrary, I care for my homeland a great deal. There's so much potential. Sadly, we squander it. We refuse to acknowledge how far we've fallen because pretending is easier. We pretend the Qunari can be beaten. We pretend that we're superior to everyone, even our own people. Not everyone feels that way. I don't. Sadly, we're the minority.
It just seems... So much of what you say about the Imperium is entirely negative.
It might sound that way. For all our faults, my people have many virtues. We are laden with history and culture. Tevinter is where Thedas truly began, remember? We treasure our past and preserve it. You can walk down a side street and find nothing built during the modern ages. And despite appearances, we care. Deeply, about everything. We have no reserve, not in war and not in love. If I truly believed my homeland was beyond all hope, I wouldn't miss it so much.
Wow.
What did you mean by generations of careful breeding?
The great families
A lot of passion there.
Don't have children. They refine traits, weed out the undesirable, and promote the rest. My mother was chosen for my father because magic runs strongly in her blood. Never mind that they loathed each other. They wanted a son who could become Archon to make House Parvis the envy of the Imperium. They got me. A cautionary tale that you should be careful what you wish for.
Wow.
Why remain with the Inquisition? Why not go back to...
Oh yeah, his VA is phenomenal.
A not exactly.
Do we know this guy from anywhere
welcome
else? Who is
back
this?
home. Not that it matters. I'm quite accustomed to being a pariah. It adds to my charm. I can do more for Tevinter here.
It's
If the
John
Venatori
Cena?
succeed,
Oh, cool.
It'll set my homeland back 1,000 years. I'm sure some magisters would disagree, but that's why.
Thanks,
they kill
chat.
them.
Is this Mercer? That's not Mercer.
I think I've heard enough.
No.
That's too bad. I never tire of talking about myself.
Have you gone to see Alexius yet? He's in the cells.
Not yet, no. I saw him
Godric
before
in
they looked
Elden
him up.
Ring?
He looked despondent.
Ramon
broken.
Tikaram.
Not the man I remember, nor the one I want to.
Cool.
I suppose the Inquisition will judge him eventually. I wonder if there's any chance they'll show him mercy. He hardly deserves it, but for Felix's sake. I can't help hoping there's something left of the man I once knew. So I take it you're Dalish? Is that the correct word here?
Yes, that's right.
We don't have Dalish clans coming northward, for obvious reasons. So I've never met one of your people before, although I've heard about them. Little. I hope this won't be an issue between us. I am here to help you deal with the Venatori, after all.
And I appreciate your help, Dorian.
Excellent. Mutual appreciation is a grand way to begin.
I'd like to ask you about Tevinter.
Ah, yes. Everyone outside the Imperium always seems quite fascinated by it. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minrathous. That's madness. All right, that one's actually true, but the cows didn't have wings. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know?
It seems strange that an entire empire would be ruled by mages.
I find it strange that your mages don't rule anything at all. Actually, the fiction in the Imperium is that mages don't rule. The Magisterium rules. That magisters are all mages is considered a convenient technicality.
What is the Magisterium, exactly?
The upper house of the Imperial Senate, and the only part worth having a seat on. Those seats are split among the circles of Magi, the Chantry, and the major families. All mages now. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage.
If you're not a Magister, then what are you called? No special title?
I'm an Altus, which is almost as good as a Magister,
An alt.
depending on who you ask.
I've never heard of an Altus.
Upper class. Those families who trace descent from the Dreamers, the first prophets of the old gods. If you're a mage and you're not Altus, then you're later, lower class. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our fancy words.
Very Italian.
I thought the Archon ruled over
Data Gnome with the
Imperium.
T294. Thanks, bud.
Yes. Technically, he can overrule laws passed by the Magisterium, but that never happens. Even so, he gets to appoint new magisters, which means all the families vie madly for his favor.
Latin. Yeah.
Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you.
If it's a fiction, that means mages do rule then.
Yes and no. Let me put it this way. Mages do rule, but not all mages are equal. If you're not from the right family, chances are you don't rule anything. Maybe you're even a slave. The idea that anyone could be a mage, however, keeps the masses placated.
Can anyone be a mage?
Technically, the potential runs mostly in bloodlines, but it's been known to happen. More importantly, commoners believe it can. Tevinter legend is chock full of mage heroes from humble origins. So they hold out hope. Someday my son or my son's son will be a mage. Someday. Poor sods don't realize that means he'll be a quaestor at the arse end of the 100 Pillars, at best.
Being a quaestor isn't a good thing.
I imagine the average non-mage likes to think so. Counting numbers and shuffling papers all day is better than many occupations after all. If you're a second-class citizen among a pack of piranha, however, your outlook changes.
Let me ask you
This
something
guy is just
else.
rife
Of course.
with lore. Oh, I love it.
There's an Imperial Chantry, isn't there? With its own divine.
You people aren't supposed to talk about the Black Divine, are you? If you mention him outside the Imperium, people make that face, like you're urinating in public. But yes, we do have the Chantry, or a version of it. Night and day comparing it to yours.
I had no idea that was a thing.
Is the Imperial Chantry so different from ours?
Not in theory. The main difference is in the whole magic is meant to serve man, not rule over him business. Back home, ruling the unwashed masses is serving them, for the good of the Imperium.
Ooh.
Perhaps it started with good intentions, but these days it's academic. The circle.
Yeah, apparently DA4 is in Tevinter, which means everything we're hearing right now is going to be super apt for that area.
There are circles of magi in the Imperium.
We don't have dismal little mage prisons, if that's what you mean. They're academies, prestigious ones. We have Templars as well, but they don't cancel spells or whatever your Templars do. They're soldiers. They watch for abuse of magic, yes, but only those who are weak or who fall out of favor get dealt with. Mostly they enforce the Magisterium's edicts. The Chantry smiles and nods from the sidelines.
Do you really call him the Black Divine?
We don't call him that, oh no. In the Imperium, he's the true divine. The woman sitting on the Sunburst throne is some backwater pretender. It all stems from a disagreement over Andraste. Marvelous, isn't it?
A disagreement?
Why would they disagree over Andraste?
It's not my field of expertise, but the Imperium believes Andraste was a mortal woman, a mage. Down south, they say, no, she's the bride of the Maker, ascended to his side, divine provenance, a blah blah blah.
Wow.
We feel better believing Andraste was one of us. Makes executing her less damning, you see. So we elected a man as divine, the South declared war, and we've been feuding cousins ever since.
Jeez.
So, the Imperial Divine is always a man?
All the better to distinguish him from that other one, yes. Don't think there aren't a number of female magisters who bristle at that. Why can't they be divine after all? Same reason you never see a man on the Sunburst
blah,
throne.
blah, blah.
Because that's how it's always been done. Excellent reasoning.
Blah, 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 blah.
Do you consider yourself Andrastian?
The big question. It might surprise you that I do consider myself Andrastian. I simply do not believe in the Chantry. It is a relic, whether back home or here in the south. Something from a bygone age desperately clinging to relevance. It's not an opinion that makes me popular.
I share your opinion, actually.
That's not surprising, considering what the Inquisition represents.
Yeah.
I'll say this. I may not believe in the Chantry, but I believe in you.
In me?
That the Maker sent you.
Colette's
through
approval
Andraste
greatly
or fate.
increases.
Cassandra is not wrong. You are what we needed most at the moment we needed it. That's what they will say in ages to come.
That's true. I feel the same.
My, someone's full of themselves, aren't they?
Damn.
I was just agreeing with you.
Don't agree on my account. A little doubt wouldn't harm the Herald of Andraste.
I was hoping we could agree with them to make things go a little
It seems
smoother,
too
but...
much to believe I know everything. The world is bigger than I. Even bigger than you.
All right, back to character creation.
It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to be...
Let me ask...
So many questions.
Okay.
That's all...
Fair enough. Here I...
At Chew.
The Inquisition supports free mages. What's next? Elves running Hallam... The Inquisition is seen as... Not that this is reason to oppress us. And beyond my... That's Tevinter. I decline. Not... If I truly believed my homeland... They got me. I'm sure some... That's too bad.
Really?
I never tire of talking about myself.
Really?
So I take it you're... Dalish? Is that the correct word here? I hope this won't be excellent. Mutual. Probably why they come up with so many ridiculous tales. Flying cows over Minratha. I digress. Anything in particular you wanted to know? The Magisterium rules. It's odd that outside the Imperium, you use Magister like it applies to every Tevinter mage. I'm an ult. If you're not a mage at all, you're Soperati. That's everyone else. We do love our...
I thought the...
Well, yes. Technically, even so, he gets to a point... Thus, the Archon gets invited to all the parties. The truest path to Tevinter influence, let me tell you. Let me put it... If you're... The idea that anyone could be... Poor sods don't realize that... If you're a second class...
Okay.
Of course.
We're almost back to where we were. Okay.
But yes, we do have... Perhaps it's... Mostly they enforce them... It all stems... So we elect...
Oh, here we go.
It's not an opinion that makes me... You are what we needed most at the moment we needed it. That's what they will say in ages to come.
You don't seem like the religious sort, to be honest.
If you define religious as sitting in a chantry and listening to a blithering
Okay,
hen
so that was a
tell you how
neutral.
to live,
Yeah, it's fine.
then no. If you define it as believing in the possibility that something larger than yourself exists, then yes, by all means.
Seriously, people, if this is too much save scumming for you, then I hope you don't watch his Pathfinder
Even bigger
playthroughs.
than you.
Right?
It laughs at all the things we think we know. The Maker doesn't need me to believe, but I do. The thought of no one at all watching out for us is too frightening. So many questions.
So many questions.
I'm wondering if the Imperium would be a useful ally.
I'd think you'd be more concerned whether or not they'd support the Venatori. They won't. At least, not officially. They'll disavow all knowledge of dangerous cultists. Secretly, many Magisters will rejoice at the idea. And if the South falls to chaos in the meantime, all the better.
It would be in the Imperium's best interest to help. Surely it could use allies.
I think the Imperium gave up on the idea of allies a long time ago. We've been fighting the Qunari for what, 200 years off and on? It's a point of pride that we go it alone. They'll sneer at the South behind their silk handkerchiefs and say, "You've had it easy for far too long." Let's not forget that the Inquisition seems to be an arm of the Orlesian Chantry. Anathema so far as they're concerned.
We're not part of the Chantry. The Chantry opposed the Inquisition's formation.
You think that matters? Don't be silly. The Herald of Andraste. Your very title smacks of the Southern Chantry. You may as well be a heathen. I think they're far more frightened what you'll do if you succeed.
Just how often is blood magic used there?
Oh, not at all.
Not at all.
That's what any Magister would tell you. They'd be convincingly offended by the notion, too. Of course, what people call blood magic here, and what we consider blood magic, are two different things.
What's considered actual blood magic in Tevinter?
Blood magic isn't inherently dangerous. Using your own blood or that of a willing participant, what's the harm? The problem is that what's permitted only gets you so much power. And what if you need more? You always need more. That's where we get into sacrifices and demon summoning. None of that is done. Not officially. Behind closed doors, it's a different story. Real blood magic can give you an edge, a leg up against your opponents. It's safe to assume that any mage of rank does it. The rest are quietly shut out of power. To put it
Damn.
bluntly.
You'd think the Templars would object.
I imagine they did, long ago. Once, their investigations might have been sincere. Then their balls were cut off. Too inconvenient. Nowadays, only the friendless are accused. Most of them probably innocent.
There must be some mages who oppose this.
Of course. I do. And I'm not entirely alone. Occasionally, there'll be a Magister who makes noise. And then the reform talk begins. All very patriotic. Meanwhile, that Magister will be quietly shunned. Chances are, surprise, it's learned he was a Maleficar all along. Most learn to keep quiet. Me? I enjoy the allure of pariahhood.
Anyone who talks about the Imperium mentions slavery. It's the center of the slave trade.
Ah, that is true.
And did you have slaves?
Not personally, but my family does and treats them well. Honestly, I never thought much about it until I came south. Back home, it's how it is. Slaves are everywhere. You don't question it. I'm not even certain many slaves do.
You think slaves like it that way? Don't be ridiculous.
I didn't say they like it. It's all most of them know. In the south, you have alienages, slums, both human and elven. The desperate have no way out. Back home, a poor man can sell himself. As a slave, he could have a position of respect, comfort, and could even support a family. Some slaves are treated poorly, it's true. But do you honestly think inescapable poverty is better?
Is that what you call it? Treated poorly?
Abuse heaped upon those without power isn't limited to Tevinter, my friend. I don't know what it's like to be a slave, true. I never thought about it until I saw how different it was here. But I suspect you don't know either. Nor should you believe that every tale of Tevinter excess is the norm.
That's all I wanted
Damn,
to know.
dude.
Fair enough.
Jeez.
I should go.
I do rather like watching you leave.
What?
You seem very interested in my opinions.
I should go.
I thought we were just getting to the good part.
You seem very interested in my opinions. I should go. Yeah. I'm gonna go. Turkeys with the 107 months. Thank you so much, buddy. Really appreciate that, my friend. Thank you.
Your open support for the mages likely earned you enemies. Our agents will monitor the situation. If the most opposed can be identified, we may still turn this to our advantage. You're not planning assassinations, are you? I was planning to unleash Josephine on them. She kills with kindness. Regardless, I applaud you for the courage to stand up for the mages. In Redcliffe, you sacrificed yourself so that I could return here. Of course I did. One small life in exchange for a second chance at history. I always loved a bargain.
Look at her.
It was still a sacrifice, and still noble. And I would do it again. Anything I should know?
Dude, I love Liliana. She's awesome.
Redcliffe Castle and resumed his duties as
Oh,
Lord.
cool.
The people are returning, slowly but surely.
Can we talk to Tegan?
Unfortunately, our show of support
Probably not.
for the
We can't get to
mages
the
has
castle, can
angered
we?
many. Anything I should know? I've nothing to report at the moment. I'll leave you to your work. Did you need something?
Okay.
I'll leave you to your work.
I think
Make a watch over you.
that's everyone. Sarah,
All men
Solus,
work of our
Dorian,
maker's hands.
Vivian,
From the low
Iron Bull,
The Inquisition appreciates
Blackwall,
your assistance in this matter.
Sandra.
And my miners appreciate your business.
Ah,
You'll have your lyrium by the end of the week. I should tell you, Ambassador, the Chantry raised some fuss when they learned about
All right.
our arrangement.
let's get this done.
The Inquisition
Tomorrow.
must certainly see
Oh my God!
audacious
Game is getting so good. And tomorrow we're going to play more of it. That being said, I'm out of here for now. I'm going to get some lunch and come back for at least an hour or two of AI this afternoon. Hope you join us for that. If you would like to see more of me for some reason, you can find more of my stuff on YouTube. We got the daily highlight reel that just went up a little bit ago. We got highlights, unboxings, more playthroughs. You can catch up on all sorts of stuff. So yeah, sure to check it out. Appreciate those that sub up there. On that note, I will be gone for probably the next hour and a half or so. My wife called and said I need to bring the kids and her lunch. So I'm going to get that done real quick. And this evening, we're going to start with an AMA. I'm actually doing my last Discord stage event for my Discord stuff. So we'll do a brief AMA. You guys can ask me some questions. I think, though, I put up a tweet. So if you do have a question, reply to there. I'll probably check out the replies on the tweet for questions. We'll do that for a half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour or so. Then maybe do some more Dragon Age Inquisition side content, as I'm pretty sure we can just duck out and go maybe work on hinterlands or other places. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. ET, my normal start time, we're going to pick up right from here, go straight into that war room, and continue the main quest line. So should be a lot of fun. As always, thank you all so much for the support. Hope you have a great morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are around the globe. Thank you for spending some of your life here. And I will see you all in just about an hour and a half for some AI, the Somnium Files Nirvana Initiative. Bye-bye.